All right, so now we're gonna look at those intermediate setups that I was kind of referring to earlier. And again, the reason I would classify these as intermediate is just because we're starting in a position where our lower body, our hips, our legs are a little further away from our opponent's head. So there's some distance we have to travel. And then also a lot of times there's some like rotational adjustments we have to make once we get to the triangle. So first we'll start off with my personal favorite, the one from side control. So the first thing I have to do before I even consider this an option is I have to isolate my partner's near side arm from their body here like this. And the way I'm going to do that is when I'm in side control, I've got my cross face, but when my partner's got his arm kind of tucked here in this frame, I'm going to grab my partner's near side leg. I'm going to push his legs away. This is going to open up some space underneath his back. So now I can scoot in, scoot to the side a little bit. I'm going to drive my knee into my partner's back, and now I'm going to use my knee as kind of a wedge. I'm going to open my toes and then slide my knee up. And then I'm going to keep doing that until my partner's arm is in my hip. And then from there, I'm going to scoot in a little bit closer and get my shin flush across my partner's back. And then I'm going to step in on the hip as well. So that's what I'm doing on this side. One more time. Here, we got to the side control. My partner's got his frames in. So got a nice tight cross face here. I'm going to grab my partner's legs, push them to the side, move to the side a little bit, drive this arm in, move my toes out, open my knee, and then slide in until I start to shelf my partner's arm on my hip. So now that I have my partner's arm isolated on this side, I'm going to start to step up to kind of like a knee on belly position here. What I'm looking for is my partner to grab my knee. He's kind of posting on my knee to stop me from sliding into the mount. So from here, all I'm going to do is normally posturing up a little bit for the sake of the technique, but normally I want to be as close as possible. I'm going to grab my partner's wrist and I'm just going to pin it where it is. I'm not going to try to move it at all. It's going to be very difficult to move my partner's arm when he's resisting. So that's why I step up to the knee on belly to get him to post, just so I can grab, pin his arm here. And now I can do kind of like a test. I'll start to lean back to see if my partner tries to knock me over. If he tries to bridge me over from here, then all I have to do is pin his arm and throw my leg over to get the choke, which is a little bit easier. But someone who is a little more seasoned, they kind of know, especially if you've already done this to them before, they kind of know what's coming. They may not be so willing to bridge you over and get triangled. So instead, I have to lean my weight to the side, and now I'm going to throw my leg up and over and pass my leg to my shin. But as I do that, I have to kind of square up with my partner. And then I'm also just going to continue the momentum to roll flat to my back, and then we'll scoot over a little bit. And now I end up in this position here, or we can look to, probably what I'll do is cross my ankles, lift my hips up, pull an arm across. Depending on how long your legs are, you may be able to just lock the triangle here first, and then don't worry about pulling the arm across. Kind of just depends on how long your legs are, how comfortable you are here. If your legs aren't super long, then it may be a good idea to just go to that diamond position first, make sure this is controlled, then lift, pull the arm across, and get the finish. So one more time, this thing go again, here, cross face, grab the knees, push the knees, move down, knee into the ribs, slide that up, start to move into this knee on belly position. My partner pins the knee. And something else you can do, again, if your partner kind of knows what's happening here, he may not even do that. So he may just keep his hand tucked here. In which case, I will open my partner's lapel, pass it around to pin his wrist to his chest. So now I can do the same thing. I can throw my leg over. As I'm throwing my leg over, in both cases, I'm letting go here, or if he was here, I'm pinning, moving to the weight, so my leg, or moving my weight to the side, so my legs are light, throwing this over, but as my leg goes over, I kind of let go, and then I pass to my shin. But I'm kind of off at this angle here, so that's what I was referring to earlier, where before I roll through, before I try to finish, I'm gonna adjust around my partner to square up. Now I roll down, end up with my foot on the hip here, can lock up the triangle with my hips, and get the finish. Another very similar setup we can do is from the mount. So when we get to the mount here, first thing I'm gonna try to do is start isolating my partner's arms from the body just like before. So I'll start with a cross face on one side, turning my partner's head. I'm gonna hook my forearm at my partner's elbow, start itsy bitsy spidering his arm up by his head. Once his elbow is up as high as it'll go, I'm going to lift, switch, and go here on this side. But now on this side, I'm going to look to pin his hand to the mat. Now I'm going to start sliding my weight up, and depending on how flexible you are, you may be able to step up, kind of itsy bitsy spider your foot over and maintain this control the entire time. Or if you're not super flexible, as we're here, I may have to posture up and just like before, throw it over and catch here. And then just like before, you can try to lock up the figure four from here. It can be a little difficult, so usually I like to roll to my back and finish just like before. This setup is also particularly good if you find yourself in a scenario where you're from a mount where your partner has an overhook. Maybe you swept them into this position. Same thing. This is pretty much exactly like the side control setup, except I'm in the mount. His arm is tucked, especially if you ever get here. Maybe sometimes you'll sweep your partner to mount in a position where his arms are already wrapped around you, or sometimes you get someone to mount and they don't know what to do, so they're trying to hug around your waist just to hold you here. Perfect time to slide up, grab, pin, and I kind of use my body weight. I lean over, kind of doing this like jack effect where I'm like trying to straighten my arm, lock out my elbow, and use my body weight to pin my partner's arm to the mat. At this point, I can itsy bitsy spider, heel toe, my legs over, especially if you're flexible. But if you're not flexible, here, get the arm nice and wide. Just like before, I kind of lift my body weight up so I can throw the leg over, catch my shin, adjust, roll to the ground, foot on the hip, and then either look to lock it up and then pull the arm across, or if you can't lock it up, then pull the arm across, then make all those adjustments and get the finish. So once you've kind of started to master getting the triangle from the bottom guard position, which I feel like is a little bit easier, next goal, start looking to set up this position from the top as well.